If your message is strong, but your presence doesn't match it, this is your wake up call. Hi, I'm Stephanie Rose, founder of West Rose Media, and this is Icons, the podcast where we build brands that look expensive, lead movements, and actually make you money. If you're ready to stop blending in and start being seen as the leader that you really are, hit subscribe and let's make you unforgettable. Now, let's go to the show. Hello, how are you guys doing? Okay, so I had a really interesting conversation this week with somebody who was like, I really need to upgrade my content. I can't do your full partnership yet. What should I do? And they were a little bit like, oh, I'm sorry to be asking this question. I was like, you know what? Hell yeah. Ask me this question. I love talking about this stuff. And let's talk about the ways that you can upgrade your content now, just you, so that you can get to the point where you can hire a team like West Rose Media to cover your content for you and like get you into the stratosphere. But you got to get there somewhere, right? Somehow you got to get there. So today we're going to talk about how to upgrade your content now as it is in this exact moment, things you can do today yourself to get you to the higher level, get more people through the door, get more people with their eyes on your content, get more sales so that you can come and work with me and I can just take these things off your plate. Because we know as entrepreneurs, as business owners, there's a lot of stuff that at the beginning of your business, you have to kind of bootstrap. You got to do that yourself to be able to get to the next level. There is zero shame in that. I am totally fine with that. Yes, I work with people who have big budgets because they have humongous goals. Like their goals aren't small. Their goals are not 5K in sales a month. Their goals are 100K, 200K in sales a month. So we have to shift this thinking of like, oh, I'm never going to get there. No, the amount of effort and the amount that you're putting in has to reflect the goal you have. Because if your goal is to make, I don't know, $1 million in a year, but the amount of effort you're willing to put in is like this much, then you're just literally never going to get there. So you have to be able to put in the effort and then be able to commit to a team like mine so that you can like, boom, like go big, go humongous. But you got to start somewhere, right? And this is always why I have free resources because I've been there. I started my business at zero too. Well, I started my business at negative because I was getting divorced. So I get it. 1000% I get it. So first thing you can do is I have an entire YouTube full of courses. They're full of courses that teach you how to make posts, how to do simple things, an entire YouTube full of it. Go search West Rose Media on YouTube and binge that shit. You will get so much value. If you actually implement those things, you can make a gigantic difference. The other thing is all of these lives, go through my entire Instagram and watch all the lives I've done. Every single one, I teach you something tangible. Watch one a day and implement what I say. So those are free resources that you can do anytime, no matter what. You could have someone on your team do them. You could do them yourself. You could, while you're folding laundry every day, listen to one of the free resources I have for you and then implement that thing. The important thing is not to do like 20 things at once and then drop off and do nothing. The important thing is consistency. I talk about consistency endlessly. And this is also why I now have a product that I offer just for this called Cadence, where you can simply go in and schedule content to up to 21 different platforms. The same content. You can take one content idea and have it go 20 different places so that it gets to a broader audience, right? Like we want to work smarter, not harder. And it's a tool that my team uses every single day. We are on there every single day, not just for our brand, but for other brands because we know the value of it. We know the value of getting your message in front of as many people as possible. So that is another tool that you can use. It's so simple. It's so easy to use. I've taught it to so many people and they're like, oh yeah, no, I can totally do this. There's incredible tools inside of it. Like you can upload directly from Canva. Yes, no more fucking around of like making a Canva thing and then downloading it to your phone and then putting it up to here and then resizing it and then putting it up into another platform. None of that. You literally can import it from Canva into the program and 21 places it can go. It also has help with hashtags. It has help with writing the captions. All of these things you can directly import from Dropbox, from Google Drive, everywhere. Like the runaround that entrepreneurs have to do with like, trying to find a picture and then saving it to their phone and then putting it into Canva, like the 25 stupid steps, you don't have to do any of those things. What you do is you simply import it directly in, push it out to all these places, and then it's everywhere, right? Because we know that the world has changed, and now the way people search through something is with AI. So they're either going on like ChatGPT, or even when you use Google now, it does an AI summary. So even if you're not like specifically thinking about using AI, it's being used for you on your behalf, right? So just like whether you want it or not, it's happening. So what does it do though? Because AI, how it categorizes things, and if you don't believe me, go into your fucking AI and ask it. Be like, how does AI search for things? And it'll tell you this exact same thing. So what it does is it just goes across as many places as possible, looks for the cohesive thing. So is there a tell that on like 12 different places, Westeros Media is listed as helping entrepreneurs who have established brands make a motherfucking shit ton of money? Does it say that many times places? Yes. So in that way, the AI trusts it because it's lots of different places. It's not just one spot, and they're not just trolling one spot. So if you only had yourself on Instagram, AI can't see that very easily. So if your ideal client is sitting in ChatGPT being like, oh my God, I can't do this, blah, 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 this is so hard. And ChatGPT is like giving it its spiel. The only way it's going to suggest you and your services is if you're very searchable and you're very visible on all of these things. So the very first thing that you can do to upgrade your content this day is to make sure it's going out to lots of places. So the platform is called Cadence. Either send me a DM, go to my link in bio, download it. It's fucking easy to use. You can use it on mobile. You can use it on desktop. Literally 21 different places you can post your stuff. Like all of my stuff, it's going to Pinterest. The other day I looked and I have like 4,000 impressions from Pinterest in just the last week. I did none of that legwork. That literally happened because it was already posting to these other platforms that I use. And it just also got added to Pinterest. It's not extra work. It's just extra visibility for the same amount of work. So that's your number one. The number two thing you're going to do is you're going to make sure that your message is like the most spot on ever. Because yes, I told you can post 21 places. But if your message isn't dialed in, then you can scream it from the rooftops. You can scream it in someone's face and they won't believe you, or they won't connect with it if you don't have the right messaging, right? Like think about like if a door-to-door person, like, when they come to your door and they like want you to like come to their religion or their church or their club. If you're not interested, doesn't matter how many things they say to you. You're like, no, thank you. I don't want that. I'm going to shut the door. They're not going to change your mind in that little scenario. But if somebody has a targeted ad because they know exactly what you want, they're speaking directly to you, you're like, oh, like, tell me more about that. Like the amount of times that I send something to my wife and she also sends it to me because we have the same targeted stuff, like the algorithm is feeding us the same stuff. And we're both like, oh my God, this looks amazing. We didn't go searching for it. We didn't have it come door to door. We didn't be like, oh, when I woke up this morning, I really needed this specific product. But because the algorithm shows people what they want and shows people what they always interact with, it's going to start suggesting things. So how do you make sure that it suggests you? Because that's what we want, right? We want people who are your like best life ideal client to get to you. That's like the whole fucking point, right? The whole point. So how do you do that? Like literally, how did you do that? I'm going to tell you right now. You have to make sure that you are a match for them in what they care about, the main problem that they have, what they like looking at, and how they want to feel. So what do I mean by that? I mean that I'm not going to consume content that's like weird, sweaty hockey bros yelling about misogyny. It's not for me. I don't like that. It does not work for me. So that aesthetic, that like visual cue is never going to work for me. Instagram is not pushing me that content because I don't care. I'm going to swipe past it. And what is Instagram's goal? Is to keep you on the platform. Same with TikTok, same with Facebook. They want you to stay put. They want you to stay put scrolling. So there's not some magical algorithm gods you have to sacrifice a goat to appease. You literally just have to go with human behavior and the algorithm and stick with it. So the people that you're trying to attract, you got to know them. And everybody's like, I don't want to research. I know my ideal client. She's me 5 years ago. No, no. It has to be more specific than that. You have to know what kind of things she cares about. You have to know how she wants to feel. You have to know what she likes looking at aesthetically, right? So my ideal client, I know her very well because not only have I done market research, I do intake forms and research on every single client I work with, whether they hire me or not. Even if they're just a lead, I get information from them. In a creepy way? No. Easy. I have my intake forms and I ask specific questions so that I get this information. Anybody who works with me also has forms so that they fill out so I know the information from them. I find out and track every single lead who comes in. Where are they coming from? What post? What day was it? All of these things. We keep track of this because it's important data. Now, what do we understand from this? I know that my ideal client needs to feel inspired. She's doing more than 80% of her peers. Like she goes to school pickup and she's in a completely different league than the other people there. And not like in a bragging way, like literally, she's just like not very many people out there are like building a huge business, trying to start like more than just a business, like an actual movement. They have like this insane amount of ambition and fire, and they're just in a different league. So she feels a little not outcast, but she feels separate from the people like that she works around day to day. So she finds more deeper connections with people online. I know this about my ideal client because I've done the research. So what does that mean my brand has to do for her? It has to give her that community. It has to inspire the shit out of her. It has to show her that, hey, I understand you. I get that you do more than most people and you have bigger dreams. And like, you can't talk to like normal people about your dreams because they're like, excuse me, what? You want to make $100,000 in 1 month? That's crazy. Most people don't make that in a year. And you're like, well, that's like just the start. That's like my next goal. But like the one after that is going to be bigger. But it's really hard to connect to people who are not in that mindset. So I know that my ideal client needs to have a safe place to be able to say like, hell yeah, that's what I want too. And so that's what my content starts with. It starts with showing her visually, first of all, something that she's like, hell yeah, like me in a fancy car, me in fancy photo shoots, me traveling, me literally demonstrating the kind of life I have built around the insanely beautiful business I have. How? Through my content. So I have to connect with her some way. The very best way to connect with people is visually through something they want to look at because it's literally a visual platform. So people are scrolling, they're scrolling, and if they don't like what they see, they're going to scroll past. So you might be like, oh, well, it doesn't really matter what I post. It does. It does. And if you want high paying ticket clients, they're not watching the DIY videos. They're not. They're following people like Layla Hermosi who spend $50,000 a month on content. That's who they're following. So if you think that the DIY stuff is going to get that level of client to you, you're just simply wrong. And that's okay. You got to start somewhere. But if you want that level, then you have to show up with it. So you have to visually match where your ideal client's brain is at, right? So if you're selling discount stuff to people who want the most amount for the cheapest dollar, then yeah, do that. Do that lower quality content. That will work perfectly. You will make lots of sales. But if you're going for high ticket sales, you have to level it up. So you have to make sure visually that you're matching what people are looking for. And then when you're writing hooks and you're writing captions, you have to make sure it affirms what they're hoping for, right? So I know that my ideal client has a teeny tiny chip on her shoulder that she's working harder than everybody else. And she really wishes she had better results because she sees other people posting their results and they're like, is she lying? Or is that really what she did? Like, what am I doing wrong? Like, I've got success, but I know it could be bigger. Like, I know I'm built for bigger than this. So what is that thing? And I have to answer that question for her. And that's what I do endlessly over and over in my content is I'm answering that question for her. Cause she's like, I'm so close, but I'm not quite there. How do I get there? And I'm like, this is how you get there. You're so close, but you're not quite there. This is how you get there. And then I answer that question for her. So you have to know is what is your ideal client wondering about? What is frustrating them? What is making them like, oh, I just wish I could blank. Whatever's in that blank has to be all over your social media 24/7. That's what needs to be up there. And then obviously we have to link in things like trends and what's actually going and all of that. But that's what you need to think about. So before you make any other piece of content ever, you have to think this through. And if all you have is your ideal client is you 5 years ago and you're copying a post that somebody else made, it's not enough. Because I said this before and I will say it until I'm blue in the face, content is not neutral. Every piece of content you put out either gets people closer to paying you or further away. You're either training them that you're like relatable and fun and cute to follow, but like not to buy from, or you're training them to completely ignore you, which is much worse. Much, much worse. So if you have like all of your data will give you the cues, but if you have like low engagement, people aren't like commenting, they're not sharing, like saves and shares, like the queen. That's what you want. But if you're getting none of that, then there's no value in what they're seeing and they're not going to share it. What you want them is to be like, oh my God, this is me, and send it to their like business bestie. That's like the action you want. And then for them to be like, oh my God, I can't get the girl in my head. And then I'm going to search her up and then I'm going to go, and next time I see her on my feed, I'm going to send her a DM. Like that's the kind of triggers we're after. But if your content is not inspiring any action, then it's kind of useless. And it's actually pushing people further away because you're training them to not purchase from you, right? Like if you went to your favorite store and every time you went, it was closed. You like looked it up on Google to make sure it was open. You got there and it was closed and you're like, fuck, that's annoying. You go home. You try another time. Oh my God, like what a waste of my time. You don't try a third time. You don't. So if your content is training people that there's nothing to buy, that there's no big solution for them, they're not going to keep trying. They're not going to beg you. But on the reverse, if you're like, I only have this amount of these things, this is really exclusive, this is why it's only for certain people, there's lots of ways to bring in urgency that's going to show them like, hey, this is the one thing that's going to change everything for you. And then they're like, oh, give me more of that. I need to know that. Like people stand in line outside the Apple store, but then they don't go to the local business in their town because they don't know about it. They don't care about it. They pass it every day and they've never seen anything different. So you have to start thinking in terms of how am I going to show the people that whatever I'm offering them, like whatever it is, whether it's a service or a product, how do they need it so desperately? Like, what is going to change for them once they have it? And if you can answer that question, then you're like 60% of the way there. And then you have to think about how they actually react, right? Like we talked about, what kind of content are they following? Like, don't search other people in your niche. Search up people that your ideal client is watching and following. And if you don't have this data, find it out. Go find this out. And if you're like, this is a million things, Stephanie, I can't possibly do all of this. Well, this is literally what we do for our clients. When somebody signs on with us, we do deep market research around their brand. We make sure we know exactly the habits that people are buying from. And we want to know exactly what went wrong and what went right. Like when you sign on with us with an Icon brand partnership, I'm asking you, how much did you make in each month last year? How often did you post and what was happening in your life during that time? And some people are like, why do you need to know that? And I'm like, because that's how I know how we're going to make sales. Because then I know, okay, so you didn't post for 2 weeks because your dog had paw surgery, whatever, right? So we know then 2 weeks later you had no sales because you were inconsistent on Instagram. And what we're trying to do and what we do for our clients, we take that away. So you can go off and do paw surgery. You can go do paw rehab. You can do whatever you need to do with Fluffy because we've got this. We've got it covered for you so you can actually have time freedom. So many people are selling time freedom to their clients, yet they're like on the beach being like, oh, look at me, I'm on the beach having time freedom. Yet they're still in the DMs, that they're still hustling. They're still making a post every day because they didn't pre-plan it. All of these things, that's not time freedom. That's working in a different location. And that's the opposite of what we're doing. What I want is to give you the engine that runs whether you're there or not. You and I work together closely so that we can like to the moon. But then when you're like, okay, so we're going to hammer out all this, we're going to make all this beautiful content. It's going to be perfect. It's going to be curated. So we talking to the right people. But then I'm going to leave for August. And I'm like, cool, we got you. We got you, babe. Like that's the whole point. Not everybody can do that right away though. So that's why you have tools like Cadence to be able to schedule things out, make sure they're actually going out properly. Now, how are we going to update your content today? Again, You're making sure the visuals are matching. You're making sure that you're speaking exactly to what they're hoping for, what they want, the thing that they're like desperate for. What is your ideal client wondering about? That's what you have to be talking about every day. Answer the question for her. And people are like, well, I don't want to I need to kind of gatekeep. I don't want to give away my secrets. I just gave away all my secrets. People still want to hire me because people can't do these things on their own. There's only one person. There isn't literally enough time in the day for people to become an expert in every single part of their business that has to be done. Like, I can't be an expert, an accountant, and an expert marketer, and an expert this and that, and an expert whatever at what I'm actually selling. You have to hire people to do this because as soon as you get to the next level, you have to hand something to somebody else to handle. And if you don't, then you don't get to the success. And people know this, right? Like, you understand that with a bookkeeper. Why don't you understand it with your content? It's the most important. It's a revenue generating activity, and it should be number one on your list. It should never be the last thing you do in a day. It should always be the first. So if you're going out and you're like, I'm going to make some content today, I want you to think about visually. What does your ideal client care about? What are they after? So I know my ideal client is looking for freedom. They're looking for freedom, and they're looking for an adventurous life. They're looking for a life that doesn't look like other people's lives. So I'm not going to be filming my content in the school pickup line. If my ideal client was moms, maybe I would, but that's not what I'm doing, right? I'm doing my content in places they haven't been, in places they wish they had been. And I'm doing it in an aesthetic way so that it looks professional, it looks rich, it looks hot, it looks all the things they crave in their life. So how do you set that up for your ideal client? We have to know your ideal client, but then you have to put yourself in the position of them, say, what do they want to see? And then you film that, and that becomes your content. So today, go and find a scenario, any scenario, where you know your ideal client would be like, hell yeah, give me, that's what I want. And you're going to film something in that scenario, and you're going to do some kind of action, right? So if you see my last post, we're like leaning in, you're anticipating an action. So they want to stay for the whole thing. That's how you're going to get them to watch it more than once. You're anticipating the action they're going to do. You're going to keep it nice and short. Then you're going to put your hook on. And what is your hook? Again, it's what does your ideal client worry about? What do they care about? What is the thing you're going to solve for them? And how are you going to do it like quickly? And how are you going to do it like efficiently? Not be like, in 24 months, I could get you a medium different life. Nobody wants that. What they want is, I can change your life with one step. I can do something better for you in these 3 tricks. I can do something for you within this time frame or this amount, because it gives them some hope to hold on to. And then they're going to go through, and then they'll read your caption. Then they'll spend the time to read your caption. You'll get more views because they're sitting there reading. And in that caption, you got to change their mind. You got to change their mind about how you're the one who's going to solve this for them. And please don't just put it into AI and hope for the best. It's really annoying. We can tell you're using AI, and people scroll past it. It's like, it's exhausting to the mind. And people are already on Instagram to de-stress, not be exhausted of the mind. So just don't do that part. Change their mind in the caption, and then give them something to do. That you want them to save it. You want them to share it. You want them to DM them. Tell them what to do. And then when they do DM you, make sure you're ready to make that sale and get through. And if you're like, you know what? Hell yeah, I'm going to do this. Send me a DM and tell me that you're going to implement this right now. I want to know about it. I want to see you trying this, because even if you're not at the level where you can bring on a whole team to do this, you can do things now, and you have to put the power in your own hands to do so. So that's how you're going to instantly upgrade your content this very day. Now, please do share this with a friend who has a business. And why don't you guys go out and make content together? Why not? Why not? You both put on a great outfit, find a location that's going to work for you, and film content together. Use these steps to write your content, schedule it in Cadence, and then boom, you're done for the whole week. I challenge you, go find a friend and do this, because then you can take the control back in your business. Then you can see the results you want to see. And then you can afford to do the things you want, like outsourcing things, like hiring me, like hiring a house cleaner, like hiring a bookkeeper, like all of these things that you're hoping for. This is how you get that, because sales is what brings in the money. So it can never be lost on your list. Okay, well, I really hope you enjoyed this beautiful live. Share it with a friend, and Get in the comments and tell me what you'd like me to talk about next. See you soon. Thank you so much for listening. If this episode hit home, take a second to follow the show and share it with someone who's ready to lead louder. And if you are done playing small, come find me on Instagram at West Rose Media, because your vision deserves to stay alive without you having to chase it. See you next time.